Hey guys, John here, the Vintage Geek, and I just got back from seeing Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Rise of the Resistance, and I'm going to tell you all about it. It was so awesome! Guys, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge has been moved up a notch. They have gone up the scale as far as theme parks and attractions go. This new ride, the Rise of the Resistance, I'm not even going to call it a ride. I don't know why people are calling it a ride. It's not a ride. Well, I guess it's kind of 2 or 3 rides, but also 3 or 4 scenarios that you play through. It's an experience. It's like you are living out a scene in Star Wars that wasn't in any film or in any other project done before. It's a new scene. It's a new scenario. It's built just for you. It's individualized, yet you're part of a group. It's unbelievable, almost unexplainable. And I gotta say, it was one of the most incredible things that I have ever done. I mean, I have been all over the world. I've been to Italy, Japan. I've been through, I've jumped off bridges. I've bungee jumped. I've skydived. I've done all kinds of crazy things in my life. Climbed mountains here and in other countries. I mean, it's like I've done incredible things, and this is right up there with them. I mean, it really, really is. It is something I have dreamed of my entire life. If you are a Star Wars fan, clearly you are, but if you're as big a Star Wars fan as I am, I have been into Star Wars since I was like 5 years old, and this is something that I never dreamed of. This is like you're a little kid in your backyard playing an entirely new scenario with your action figures. You're making up a new adventure with the characters you've grown to love, and you're sitting in your backyard. You've dug a pit. You've added some little areas to it where the good guys are coming in and they've got everything holed up, and the bad guys are storming the little fort you've built, and you're playing there with your action figures. This is like that, but on a life-size scale, on a scale so grand it'll blow your mind. And I just cannot stress it enough. Like, this was just something amazing. Something like just a few years ago I would have said, no way, it's unbelievable. There's absolutely no possible way that this thing could be real. But it's real. It's here. And it's at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Disney World, and soon to be opened in Disneyland. And I gotta say, you have to go. You've got to go and experience this experience. I mean, that's all I could say it is. It's not really a ride. It's an event. It's just a thing that you do and you live through, and it's impressive. Most impressive. I can't tell you enough, man. But with that said, I'm going to go through it with you here. I took some video. I took some shots. I've got it all right here for you. I'm going to run you through it. And I got to say right now, I knew nothing about this ride. I saw 1 or 2 pictures online. I saw a picture of this stylized artwork that they had, of people in the little carrier and some AT-ATs up above. But it was a drawing, it was a painting, it was like concept art. And I'm going to show you the real thing. So for me, going through it with no preconceptions, with no knowledge of what was going to happen or what was going to go on during the experience, I think that added to the experience. It helped it a lot. So if you don't want to know anything at all about the ride, I'd say stop the video right now. You know how much I loved it because you've been, with me this far. But I do got to say, the rest of this thing is going to be absolutely spoiler heavy. And if you don't want to know anything about the ride before you go on it, and you want to experience it fresh with no knowledge of what you're going to see or what's going to happen, then stop the video now. come back after you've ridden the ride and finish up the video, I guess. But for those of you who want to know more, carry on, my friends, because we're going to get into it here. And at the end, I'll give you some tips on how you can get on the ride early, get there quick, get through the line, and be on the ride right away. And then you got the rest of the day to do the other stuff you want to do, because the line gets crazy if you wait till night. So firstly, when you get in there, you're going to get on a boarding group. And when you get in, your boarding group is called, you're going to go over to the ride and you're going to get on it. And then when you're in line, there are various things to check out and see. Like there's an ammo depot, weapons depot, I should say. And there's an area with the clothing, with the outfits. Now you can't put any of this stuff on or use it, but there's a lot of things to look at in there. And you want to keep your eye out for some of the breathing apparatus they used on Hoth. Like when the Millennium Falcon was inside the Slug Beast and they were out there cleaning the Minox off, they had that little gas mask on with the little rebreathers. Those things are in some of these cabinets and closets and stuff that you can see along the way while you're working your way through the line and getting into the little area, like I say, the weapons depot area. There's like a room, and then there's another room where there's like full outfits, full pilot outfits and other things. And it's really cool to stop for a second, take a look at those things, and just pick out a lot of the different things that you've seen throughout the years in Star Wars inside some of these cabinets and cages. So that's the first thing that's pretty cool. Then you get brought into a room where you see one of those glass panels, which has the green and the white and it's like Yavin or something, it's pretty cool. And there's various pieces of equipment around the room. You get told that what's going to happen is you are a group of people who have been recruited by the Resistance. They know that you are sympathetic to the cause and that you are ready to join the Resistance as new recruits. So they're going to, in a few seconds, put you into a hangar bay where you're going to wait. And in that hangar bay, you're going to wait for your shuttlecraft to land. And once your shuttle lands, you're going to take off to head on to the Resistance base, the newly formed Resistance base. And there you are going to be trained up to be a Resistance fighter and join the cause. So pretty much you're starting out in a scenario. You are now becoming part of Star Wars. Everyone in the room, everyone around you is now an actor, and they are in character or portraying their part in this entire scenario that you are about to live through. So if you also get into character, you are going to have more fun, and you are going to bring something that's more fun, an element to the rest of the people that are there that will allow them to sort of get into it more. And the more that you get into it, the more that the actors will react with you and talk with you and do stuff with you, and while staying in character, in universe, inside this Star Wars attraction. So you want to get into it. You want to put your mind in the mind of an actor and say, I am now a Resistance fighter joining the cause. And if you get into that mindset and pretend and speak to the other actors that are in the room as if you are a Resistance fighter, you are going to have a far better experience than if you just go through and look at it and just take it in, So BB-8 rolls out while you're in the staging area. He beeps at you, tells you some stuff. You've got 9 Numb on the screen. He's going to be your pilot for this adventure, flying the shuttle that you are in. And we've got a Mon Calamari. I gotta honestly say I don't remember his name at the moment, but he's there, and he's going to be your sort of secondary guy on the ship. He's in control of the weapons and various other, like engineering kind of things on the ship. 9 Numb is your pilot. Poe Dameron is there, and him and BB-8 are your escort in Poe's X-Wing, along with some of Blue Squadron. And then you've got a hologram that appears of Rey, and Rey starts telling you the objective and what's going to happen. She welcomes you to the Resistance and everything. And this hologram, I gotta say, is incredibly impressive. It's absolutely unbelievable how good this hologram looks. It is not projected onto glass. It does not appear to be projected onto anything. It looks like I mean, I went around to the side of it and I was looking at it. I was trying to figure out how this thing worked, and it is not projected onto anything. It is in thin air. They absolutely made a real life hologram. I have got to find some kind of behind the scenes things and see how they made this, because people have been trying to make holographic televisions for years and bring the action of sports events and other things into your living room as if you were there. And they always have to have it projected onto a sheet or glass or something that ends up hindering the space within your living area to the point where it's not practical. You know, a television flat screen is way better than trying to get this giant contraption anywhere into their place. But this, they did it. They did what people have been trying to do for years. And it's here right in front of you, life-size, in color. And it's absolutely astonishing. It blew my mind. I don't know how they did this. I've got to figure out how they did it. And it's like you're actually watching a real... You are. It's not like you... It's not like you are. You actually are watching an actual hologram. A real thing. And it's just incredible. It just blew my mind, you know? Then the doors to the hangar open up and your shuttle lands. You go out there, you find the giant black X-Wing of Poe Dameron sitting off to the side with BB-8 in it. Poe gets in, he tells you that you are about to take off, and you have a couple of Resistance fighters out there, actors playing as Resistance, and the actors really get you going. They're like, get on board, go, 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 kind of thing. And you've got to hurry up and rush and get on board the transport because you're about to take off and join the Resistance. They tell you that the First Order is onto us and they are entering the area, and we've got to go really fast before they get here, or else, you know, there's going to be some trouble going on. So you all rush on board the transport, the doors close, and the thing starts to take off. And this part is like a ride. So you are actually, it moves around, up and down, left, right, swirls, flies all over the place. There's windows on it. There are screens inside. And I'm going to give you a taste of it right here. The windows in the back, and what's really cool is if you look through the back, you will see things coming at you. And as you go towards the front and look out the front window, you see them continuing on and going past you. So something that comes at you from the rear, you're going to see travel all the way to the front of the ship and go out the front window. So it appears as though you are actually in space. Things are flying past you. It's just like you are really out there in space. You feel as though you have taken off. It tricks your brain and your body into feeling as though you've actually taken off. You're actually flying through space and things are all around you, shooting at you and blowing up, and it's just incredible. And here's a bunch of that here. I'll give you some of that and a taste of what you're going to see on this part of the ride. It's pretty freaking cool. If this were it, you'd be like, wow, that was fun. But this isn't it. This is just the beginning. So, of course, you get captured by the First Order. You are tractor beamed into the hangar bay. And when the door opens up, you come out and there are First Order officers there telling you that you've been captured by the First Order. You are now going to go into interrogation and processing, and they want to figure out where you were headed. Where is this Resistance base, and what information can you tell them? Of course, you don't know too much. You know the name of the Resistance base, but you don't know where it was. But you've got to keep that name secret. You're under no circumstances are you going to give that away, because you want to stay on the side of the Resistance and not give in to any of these First Order scum. But you walk into this hangar bay after you get out of your transport that's been tractored into this hangar bay, and it is 100% absolutely life-size. Off to your right, you will see a TIE fighter as it's coming down that angled chute that we saw in the movies, and there are hundreds of stormtroopers in there. Transports off to your side. It is absolutely incredible. It is immense. And there are things flying by out of the hangar bay and ships, blasting each other, lasers. Just incredible sight. and you want to stay there and take this all in, but of course you are in a scenario where you are being captured. They give you a few minutes to sort of break out of the scenario to take it in, but they don't want to keep you in there too long. They quickly get back into character, and they say, you have been captured by the First Order, you are going to processing, and you're going to be interrogated, please go down the hall. Well, they don't say please, they push you and force you down the hallway. And you go to another staging area where they divide you up into groups where you're going to be interrogated. I ended up being in the red group, so I was going to be in with that group to be interrogated and processed. And they sit you in a cell so that certain groups like blue, red, and silver got together. They were shoved into this cell, I think with blue, red, silver, and yellow, something like that. There was 4 groups of us that were pushed into this one cell. And then when you get into the cell, they lock the door on you, and there's no way out. You're just trapped in there. And General Hux shows up. There's a stormtrooper up above. Kylo Ren comes in. They say some things to you. And then you get rescued by the Resistance. And I'm not going to tell you how they rescue you, because that is so cool. It's like... I didn't want to show it. I decided I'm not showing you how they rescue you, because you see this kind of effect in the movies, and they do it live in this prison cell, and it's awesome. And you're just like, it's unexpected, it's awesome, and it blows you away. And so the way the Resistance gets you out of the cell is just unbelievable. And I don't want to ruin it for you, so I'm not giving that little part away. That little detail is yours to be to not know what's going to happen. It's just so cool. It's so cool. You're gonna be like, oh, this is awesome. And so you get rescued. You get put into another little staging area. You get onto a transport where there's a droid who's going to be driving you, and that droid is going to try to get you out of. He's like an Imperial droid that's been reprogrammed by the Resistance, and there's like a small Resistance cell on the Star Destroyer that's actually helping you get off, and they are going to use this reprogrammed droid to drive you to an elevator where you'll take it down to a hangar bay, and then you're going to get out of here using a ship in that hangar bay. So they tell you the plan, and you take off. And you're going around all these things. There are stormtroopers popping out, shooting you. Things start to go wrong, of course. The plan is no longer functioning correctly. It is not going as planned. So what do? Instead of going down, you go up. You go to another area where there are AT-ATs walking around. Giant, full-size. There are 3 life-size AT-ATs in there. I just can't believe it. Weapons are shooting at you. Stormtroopers are coming after you. Kylo Ren's coming after you. You see Finn at one point, and he's there to rescue you and help you out. And then there are laser blasts going off all over. Panels are blowing up next to you, which is really cool, by the way. I'm going to show you this real quick. When the lasers hit, the panels actually open and explode. You know what I mean? And what it is, I think, is it's video projected onto the wall of the event, of the scenario. You know what I mean? Like the wall of the Star Destroyer interior, and they project the damaged material onto the wall to give you that effect. So when the laser hits, the projector turns on, and then it's just all timed perfectly right so that it looks really like it's blasted a hole in that wall, you know? And anyway, so then you get out and you go around and you get into the droid eventually takes you to an escape pod, basically. And your whole unit gets in that escape pod with the droid and the carrier that you're on. And you escape the Star Destroyer and then continue on from there to finish the story out. And I won't... There's another part here that I don't want to spoil for you because it's so intense that, I mean, everybody reacts. And that reaction, I want it to be genuine. I want you to see it for yourself. And so I'm not giving that part away also. So there's a couple little things that I'm leaving to you to explore and find, because I don't want to give everything away in this video. Because like this part here at the end, the way everyone reacts, I want you to live through that experience and live through that reaction for yourself. and see how you react when you don't know it's coming. Because that was one of the most exciting parts of the ride here, is near the end when you get in the escape pod. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to tell you about the ride then, I guess. Because now we're nearing the end of the ride. It's at least 15 minutes long. I think you can stretch it out to about 20, if depending on how you act and how you react to certain areas inside the thing. No, we gave up no information. We're in a cell. We're trapped.
Prisoners are secure.
There's no hope. It's game over, man. And then there were different parts where, like when I'm standing in the group waiting for the First Order to interrogate me and put me into the prison cell, I'm trying to hit a button and the guy like reacts like, stand still, don't hit those, hands off the control panel, there was somebody else who was standing over there, and they were talking with one of their friends, and he came over and he was like, no talking, what are you guys discussing? Do you know the information we're looking for? That kind of stuff. So you can actually interact with these First Order officers, and if you can come up with some clever line or something really clever to do while you're waiting there in that group before you go into the prison cell, you're going to have that much better of an experience as they react to you and what you came up with to say during those little points. And when you're waiting when you get into your little car that the droid's going to drive, there are 2 people in there that are resistance fighters, and they also will interact with you. So if you have something clever to say to join in with the resistance in the talk that's there, they will also interact with you and keep that experience going. So I highly recommend being clever. Think of something interesting to do or say, and they will react to you. And it's really cool and really fun. And it got our group a little bit more into it and a little more involved as the story went on, as we experienced this thing together. First, I'm the absolute very first person for Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. So I said I'd share my experience and give you some tips on how to get in early. So the first day when I was there, I got in about 8:30 in the morning, and I ended up in boarding group number 157. That did not start boarding until about 6:30 p.m. at night, and we were in line until around 10 p.m. at night. The park closed at 8, just to give you an idea. So they did say if you get in line, you are guaranteed to be in the ride, but sometimes if you're in those later groups, you're going to be waiting, like I was, for almost 4 hours before you get into the ride itself. So I don't recommend doing that. The next morning, I woke up early. I got to the park about 6:45 a.m. They opened the doors to Hollywood Studios at 7 a.m. What I did is I went all the way over to the far right. Go as far as you can. The main group of people, when they're entering, they go exactly straight for the first entrance they see to put their fingerprint and boop their magic band. Now, when you boop your magic band and put your finger on the thing, that's when you can check into the boarding group, okay? So what happens is if you're waiting in that long line, everyone who's booping their magic band ahead of you is getting in before you and getting into groups before you. So you want to go all the way over to the far right and get into, go away from the crowd is what I'm trying to say. And get into a line where there's only 1 or 2 people. And that's what I did. There was probably 100 people waiting to go into the main entrance. I went all the way over to the right, and over there was 2 people waiting. I got right in, booped my magic band, put my finger on the thing. It let me right into Hollywood Studios. I opened up the app to the Disney Park app, my Experience app, and there it was, boarding passes. Clicked it, and I got in boarding group number 12. So then I immediately went over to the entrance to the Rise of Resistance entrance there. And from the previous night, I knew right where to stand. It's basically right before you get to the big gun. There's a tower gun And you want to stand near that tower gun because they're going to be boarding you from that side. And what I did is I basically went over into the corner where I could see it, and I just waited until my boarding group was called. Because in the morning they have to do some checks. They have to make sure the ride is working properly and that everything's going through fine. And once they got it all checked, they'll open the ride. So the ride doesn't open at exactly 7 a.m. For me, it didn't open until about 8:15, almost 8:30. So I basically, which I did not know, but it's okay because I was sitting there with a drink. I had some cinnamon rolls and I was just talking with other Star Wars fans that were coming through. Talked with a couple employees, a couple of the crew members, I guess they call them. And we just sat there and had a good time for about an hour. And then the app text messaged me and said, your boarding group is now boarding. Go ahead over there and get on the ride. And I went over, they checked me in with an iPad, and they said, you are guaranteed, you are definitely in this boarding group. They boarded groups 1 through 16, just so you know. So the groups must be fairly small. So 1 through 16 was the ones they boarded right away. So if you're in that first 15 to 16 groups, you're going to probably be able to get in the moment they open the ride. And then what's really lucky for me was by doing that, I was the absolute very first person walking through the halls of that lineup to get on the ride, and got to do it first thing in the morning. And that was an entirely different experience than waiting 4 hours. So that's my recommendation for you. If you want to get on this thing right away, get it out of the way, get it done, experience it, and then you have the rest of the day to just kind of do what you want to do. And you have no worry about waiting in like a 3 or 4 hour line at the end of your day when you're already exhausted and tired. I mean, that's the trick for you. Get there right at 7. Go all the way to the far side to get in the park where there's no one else in line waiting to get in. Use that kiosk to go through and get in. Open up the app, the My Experience app at Disney, and then just get that boarding pass the minute it hits 7 a.m. Because as soon as 7 a.m. hits, you can click that boarding pass and get right on. And hopefully you'll have a similar experience to me and get in that first 16 groups. And, group 1 through group 16 got in right away. And then just go sit by the ride until they call your number. Get something to eat, something to drink, talk with your friends, talk with fellow Star Wars fans, and then just get on that ride the minute they call your number. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I think we're going to wrap this up now. I've been rambling on for quite a while. Give you a pretty good look at the Rise of the Resistance ride. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show the entire ride part of the first thing with Nine Numb and those ships and everything attacking us. I think it's about 4 minutes long or so. So I'm going to show that entire thing. Just that sequence is going to be right here. So the rest of the ride you won't see, but you'll see just that sequence. And if you don't want to see the whole thing, now's your time to get off the video. But if you want to see that entire sequence and see how awesome the animatronics are on this Mon Calamari guy, and then you keep watching. But otherwise, I'm going to just say, may the Force be with you guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys get to Galaxy's Edge and can check this thing out. And if you enjoy this channel, hit subscribe. I go through all kinds of things, mostly toys, but I'm going to try to branch out this year and do a few other little interesting things about Marvel, Star Wars, whatever toys I collect and whatever things I'm into, G.I. Joe, Transformers, stuff like that. I want to start doing some commentary on cartoons and various other things that we grew up with in the 80s. And I hope to get into doing that later this year as I get some better equipment in the studio. And okay, all right. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Here's that clip that I promised you. And may the Force be with you. We'll talk to you guys later. Oh, and if you do get to Galaxy's Edge and you want to meet up, shoot me a line before you go. I'll be more than happy to go up there and meet up with you. This past trip, I met up with Vinny from Twitter. And Vinny and I spent about 2 hours talking Star Wars, walking around the park, and just, sharing our love of Star Wars. And it was pretty cool to meet up with someone that you talk to every day on Twitter, So, yeah, I'm just saying. if you want to meet up and hang out for a couple hours, just let me know you're going, and I'll drive up and meet you there. I got a resident pass for Florida, so I can go anytime, no questions. All right, man. We'll talk to you guys later. And, yeah. All right, here's the clip. See ya. Bye.
That's better. Check the binary motivator. Yes. I just want to be sure. Good. Yes. Check the hyperdrive also.
Transport takeoff in 20 seconds.
Good. Airspeed sensor? Thank you, Nina. Black Leader, are you and your team ready?
Affirmative. The engines are hot. Red 2, Blue 5, report. Red 2, check.
Blue 5 standing by.
Engage propulsors and hold on, recruits. Warships, launch. As you heard from Ray, I've been tasked with getting you to Bakara.
Red 2, Blue 5, keep tight now. Let's get ready to make that jump to light speed on my mark.
Black Leader, we're picking up an unusual signal. Are you spotting anything?
Yeah, I see it. We'll check it out. BB-8, what do you got?
There appear to be a number of small craft heading our way. Raise the shields.
We got company. First order TIE fighters. Reroute! Red 2, Blue 5, we got a clear path so transport can make the jump. I'm hit!
Red 2, more incoming. Blue 5 taking evasive action.
Try to shake it, Blue.
I'm trying,
We lost Blue 5. I'm gonna try to cut out of the way.
Copy that. Get us clear so we can make the jump.
Be ready. You won't have much time.
Where are all those TIE fighters coming from? Star Destroyers. We can't. We're caught in a tractor beam. It's pulling us in.
It's a push to make this a fair fight. Don't worry, I'm coming back for you. Stay strong.
Cargo vessel TR-141, identify yourselves and prepare to be boarded.
This is TR-141. We are a civilian vessel. By whose authority are we being detained?
By the authority of the First Order resistance scum. Now bring down your shields and prepare to be boarded.
Tell what the location of our secret base. Tell them nothing. The future of the resistance is at stake. I have a bad feeling about this. Stand back from those doors.
This ship is now under the command of the First Order. Disembark immediately and proceed all the way towards interrogation.
Uh-oh. We're in trouble now.